about healthcare.
And finals week is only days away, but don't stress, we'll tell you how you can calmly crush your exams.
It's all right now. Hello and thanks for joining us on SUTV News. I'm Laura McQuay.
And I'm John Schaefer. Recently, it was National Healthcare Decisions Day, a day devoted to spreading the message of people making healthcare decisions for themselves or loved ones relating to the end of one's life. Now, as hard as it is to discuss, it's a topic more of us should be aware of. Being young is a great thing, and having a world of opportunity makes it even better. But sadly, every day the lives of college-age adults are cut short. For many of us in our early 20s, the end of life is the last thing that we worry about.
College-age students also have this feeling of immortality, and we live in a society where we don't think about death. We don't have to, and we think that people don't die until they're older. But in actuality, people die of every age in every age group.
The reality of making end-of-life decisions applies to all adults, not just us who are young. Family and loved ones face these decisions too, and it's important we talk about these issues and understand the wishes of those we care about.
It's a good conversation to have. It's a very, very difficult one to have. People don't, especially students, don't like having it with their grandparents or their parents or their older loved ones. They don't want to think about them dying, but it's going to happen. And the best way to figure out what your loved one or yourself would want is to have these decisions made ahead of time. That is always what I say to my students. I want to see us all grow old, because the alternative is we don't want to see the alternative. I want everyone to be older.
For more information, visit the National Healthcare Decision website at nhdd.org.
In the past, at least law enforcement had help fighting the war on drugs. In order to buy drugs, an abuser had to go to the street and work to hide from the law. But in recent years, users have been able to turn to local stores selling dangerous drugs. SUTV's Holly Hara has been looking into this phenomenon and joins us with the details of her investigation. Holly?
The phenomenon is synthetic marijuana, and it's been getting a lot of attention lately. I sat down with a local drug prevention specialist, and he told me law enforcement officers have seen it in our area. He says in just the last couple of years, it's gone from the store counters to police seizure vaults. But the substance is around and still available to buy on the internet. But that doesn't mean you should use it. Sellers of synthetic marijuana, street name Spice or K2, claim it's a safe, legal alternative to cannabis. The products warn not for human consumption. They are made of dried plant material sprayed with chemicals, providing smokers with mind-altering effects, much like marijuana.
I would say it's almost the equivalent of a Russian roulette. You are unsure of what chemicals are used in the process, what quantities.
The Cumberland County Drug Task Force is working hard to educate and protect against the dangers of synthetic marijuana.
According to law enforcement, what's on the packet is no indication of what actually is being smoked. So once again, it's just multiple risks on multiple levels.
RAs on campus have seen residents using the product and treat synthetic marijuana like any other illegal substance.
If they're acting out in a way where it is very obvious, then we have to, approach them, ask them questions. If not, then we would call the police right away, and then the situation would be handed over to the police.
While the long-term effects vary from one user to the next, experts say the substances can cause permanent harm.
The toxic chemicals that can cause kidney failure, panic attacks, heart issues, respiratory issues. It can be very, very dangerous because you don't quite know what's on there.
The product may be synthetic, but the risk is real. Since January, U.S. Poison Control has cited 177 incidents involving synthetic marijuana. People have died from using the substance. And just last week, I found a store in our area cited for carrying the substance. It now must post a sign noting the citation.
Prescription drug abuse has always been around, but it's becoming more prevalent. Blake Cooper has more.
prescription drugs in the U.S. has steadily increased over the past few decades. The Drug Enforcement Agency reports that America's illegal use of these drugs is at an all-time high, with nearly 100 Americans dying from drug overdose daily. Pennsylvania is not immune.
I do know that in the southwest portion of our state, specifically, I've read things about Fayette and Westmoreland counties. They have what's been termed as an epidemic with regard to prescription drug abuse and overdose-related deaths.
Oxycodone, hydrocodone, methylphenidate, and amphetamines like Adderall are some of the most commonly abused drugs. Abusers can get their hands on them through family and friends, but can go through a doctor too.
There's also people who we refer to as doctor shopping, people who go from physician to physician to get various prescriptions filled, or there's individuals who have been filling out prescriptions themselves.
As the use of stimulants increased by 93% among college students and opiates by 343%, the problem is more common at a younger age. Just having these drugs without a prescription is a misdemeanor, but if you sell them, it becomes a felony. So do yourself a favor and don't become a statistic. Blake Cooper, SUTV News.
If you know someone with a drug addiction, call 1-800-662-HELP for a free referral helpline.
Well, it's that time of year and students are studying for finals and finishing up their last assignments. Kyle Jurison has more.
Finals can be a stressful time for all students. Exercising regularly and eating healthy are important for making you feel good. Yoga is a great exercise for relieving stress when finals have you working like a dog.
They don't want to run or do some of those things that are more damaging to their joints, so it's more gentle on your body, but you can get a lot of the same benefits.
There are many ways to help keep a clear head, so I went around campus to see how other students help themselves get through finals week.
Keep a planner and just cross up any little thing that I can cross off. Makes me feel 100% better.
I go to the driving range down at Old Scotland Yard, just hit some golf balls.
Going for runs outside in the morning so that I'm like set and ready to go for the day.
Everyone has their own method. It's all about finding which way works best for you. Reporting for SUTV News, I'm Kyle Jurison.
Another benefit of yoga is being able to do it right in your own home.
After the break, Miles Sherman tells us how one little boy's wish came true.
And find out what one lady thinks of her daily experiences living on Richard Avenue. Stay tuned.
Wildfires.
In this week's edition of World News, Miles Sherman brings us the latest on the Baltimore landslide.
Miles will also inform us of a Florida jail explosion and a little boy who got his wish. Hey, Miles.
Thank you, John and Lauren. The storm system bringing death and destruction to the south is creeping north. Baltimore suffered a landslide yesterday, causing part of the city's street to collapse, sending at least 10 cars down a steep bank into a railroad tracks. Some sections of Maryland have been evacuated for flooding. 2 inmates are dead after a apparent gas explosion caused part of a county jail in Florida to collapse. An Escambia County spokeswoman says more than 100 inmates and officers were hurt in the blast. Escambia County officials say their first priority is taking the injured to the hospitals, then notifying their loved ones.
We only have 3 that are currently unaccounted for, and I say that because we don't know they may be in the jail. We know they're not in the hospital, and so right now we're trying to confirm their whereabouts, obviously, and we have 3 inmates that are unaccounted for.
A spokeswoman from the jail says the explosion may have been related to the flooding and the massive rain this area has had in recent days. A little boy gets his wish. A 3-year-old who survived a heart transplant gets his wish of becoming a firefighter. The Make-A-Wish Foundation of Detroit and the local engine company made his dream come true. The young boy got to wear the uniform and badge for a whole day. Firefighters were happy to offer their new recruit some on-the-job training. And that was another week of World News. I'm Miles Sherman. Now back to the desk with John and Lauren.
Shippensburg Richard Avenue is an infamous street for its loud late-night activity. The homes on that street have served as the living quarters and party location for thousands of SHIP students. But you might be surprised to know one uncommon Richard Ave resident has lived among those students for years. Andrew Robinson introduces us.
Marita Thomas is 81 years old, lives with her dog Chris and 4 cats. But Marita doesn't live in your typical retirement community. Marita lives right here in the heart of Richard Avenue. She bought the house 58 years ago with her husband, who has since passed.
Well, we got married and we needed a place to live, and we bought it. I think we only paid $4,000 for it.
Thomas gets help from her college-age neighbors. One student next door mows her lawn and plants flowers, and she says they graciously deliver cans to her backyard, and she recycles them.
They save the cans for me, and I take them out.
Marita sells trinkets at yard sales. Her home is full of jewelry, dolls, glassware, and other collectibles.
I buy stuff at auction and sell it at antique stores and make a little money.
But she does like her neighborhood and doesn't plan on going anywhere. Marita, do you drink beer?
Me? No.
Andrew Robinson, SUTV News.
If you're a Richard Ave resident, be sure to toss your cans in Marita's backyard. She'll enjoy the company.
With classes coming to an end, students are packing up and planning out their summer fun.
With summer around the corner, it's time to plan out how students will spend their time, be it working, traveling, or doing internships.
I'm taking my company Rebottled into full production. We're spreading into the Baltimore and Washington, D.C. metro area.
I'm just gonna work, and I'm probably gonna go to California for like 3 weeks to visit my sister who just moved out there.
I'll be taking 2 summer courses, one at the 3rd and one in the 5th. I'll be interning at a home instead during the middle of summer when I don't have any classes.
I'm planning a beach trip with my friend right now. We're gonna go to Dewey Beach for about a week and rent a place of our own, so that should be fun.
This summer I'm going to Wrightsville Beach in North Carolina.
For SUTV News, I'm Amanda Trevel.
Now, don't touch that dial, because Holly Harrer will tell us if we'll need our umbrellas again this weekend, or if we'll need some SPF 50. I know I'd need it, Lauren.
Oh my goodness. And Chandler Harris tells us how Steven Spielberg's E.T. broke new ground earlier this week. Weather and entertainment is next. Rain, rain, go away. But you know what they say, April showers bring May flowers. Holly is here to tell us what we expect for this weekend. Hi, Holly.
Thanks, Lauren. Happy 1st of May. Hopefully the old saying will be true and we start to see Mayflowers popping up soon. Here's what you can expect this week. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low of 43 degrees. Tomorrow will be partly sunny with a high of 64, dropping to 43 at night with partly cloudy skies again. Looking ahead at this weekend, Saturday there is a slight chance of showers, so partly sunny skies for most of the day otherwise. Your temperature high sticking around 68 for the day. Sunday, you can expect much the same as Saturday. A chance of showers throughout the day with a high of 65 degrees. Monday and Tuesday will be a beautiful start to finals week. Sunny skies and a high of 65 for Monday and 65 for Tuesday. A rainy weekend ahead, but great days to relax and gear up for final exams. Now we'll send things over to Chandler Harris with this week's entertainment scoop.
We've got a special blast from the past story for you guys. Monday, excavators did some Atariology. You know, Atari is basically like the oldest system ever. Nearly 3,000 Atari ET games from 1983 were found buried in a landfill in the New Mexico desert. Atari buried the game because it flopped so hard. The company had so many extra copies that they didn't know what to do with it. Many believe the game was the worst Atari game ever made and caused the video game market to crash for a little bit. This event was only a rumor until Monday, but workers believe that there are more games to be found down in the landfill. Maybe they might even find Super Mario Brothers or something like that. Andrew Garfield returns this summer in the hotly anticipated film, The Spider-Man 2. In this upcoming sequel, we get a more detailed look at who Peter Parker is and how he develops as he continues into fight crime as the web-slinging Spider-Man. He will have his hands full as he battles against some of his most fearsome foes, like Electro, played by the Oscar-winning Jamie Foxx, and the Green Goblin, portrayed by Dane DeHaan. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 hits theaters May 2nd. Go and check it out. Get ready because a big act is hitting the screen. A really big act. I'm talking super, mega, colossal big. The latest reboot of Godzilla hits theaters on May 16th. Directed by Gareth Edwards, the movie features Breaking Bad star Bryan Cranston, and Rotten Tomatoes states it's a powerful story of human courage and reconciliation in the face of titanic forces of nature. It's also rated PG-13 and stars Aaron Taylor Johnson. So go out and see Godzilla. Roar. One of Disney's most famous villains is starring in her own movie, Maleficent, the evil witch from Sleeping Beauty. Movie Insider states Maleficent faces an epic battle with the invading king's successor, and as a result, places a curse upon his newborn infant, Aurora, who we know as Sleeping Beauty. See how Aurora may hold the key to peace in the kingdom and perhaps Maleficent's true happiness. Maleficent comes out Friday, May 30th. A club that began in 2011 is becoming quite popular to the students around here in Shippensburg interested in fashion. Like myself, I consider myself a fashionable brother, but I'm wearing a polo today. Nikisha Gordon explains more about colorblind.
And what people see in this magazine, that magazine, what they see on the street, what they like and what they don't like, it's all up to you. And the thing that I take pride in this club is that if somebody has an opinion on a style, nobody's like, ew, what? You don't like that? It's just like, okay, well, that's what you like and that's what I like.
Tomorrow, starting at 1 p.m. in the Cub NPR. Come out and watch them strut their stuff. And come on down. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. You could be the next contestant on The Price is Right. This Saturday, the Cub APB is sponsoring The Price is Right at 9 p.m. Come compete in the classic television-style game for over $2,000 worth in prizes. So come on out and get your Bart Barker on. Well, that's all for entertainment this week. I'm sorry I have to leave you guys. Back to Lauren and John at the desk.
Don't go anywhere. We're all about to be taken to school.
That's right, Lauren. Trey Kimball and Chris Eckstein are in the studio for the Sports Monthly Report Card. You don't want to miss it.
Baseball took on Lock Haven this past weekend. Hayden Kephart has your highlights.
Shippensburg men's baseball squared up against Lock Haven last Friday for Senior Day. Pat Craigelo would take the mound for the Raiders in Game 1 of the 4-game series. Lock Haven started things off with a double to right field.
How long was it?
The Raiders played keep-up as Michael Douglas had a nice bunt, gets the runner in scoring position, and beats out a throw. Jimmy Spanos, the next batter, would hit a single to left to load the bases. Shippensburg got in trouble here as nobody covers home after a pop-up and Mike Marchenko tries to sneak home, but gets caught up, resulting in a double play to end the inning. Ship would get on board as a single causes Isaac Stern to bring in a run. Craigelo pitched solid, striking out 6 and going 8 innings. The Raiders would lose this game in extras, but would win the next 3 in the weekend series. Hayden Kephart, SUTV Sports.
Season ended on a high note, but came just shy of making playoffs. Better luck next year, fellas. Now, April was filled with matches, games, and preparations. Here to talk about it is Trey Kimball and Chris Eckstein. Time for your sports report card, guys.
Thanks, Kyle. It's the first day of a brand new month, and that means some brand new grades to be handed out by Chris Eckstein. Chris, let's get right to it as we review some topics from April. We start with women's tennis. The team finished 3-11 this season. What do you have to say about the women's tennis team?
Well, you see 3 wins and you think that's not very great, but that's actually pretty positive for this team. It's the most they've had in a single season since the 2005-2006 season. So, Another thing you have to keep in mind is that this is only Amanda Fenn's third season as head coach. It takes some time to turn a team around, especially tennis. It's a little bit different. So 4 of the top 5 players will be returning next season. Also, something else to take positive out of. At number 1 and 2, you have Julia Saints and Brittany Buckley. Julia Saints had a great year at number 2 spot. 8 singles wins for her. That's the most in a single season in quite some time for a Raider. And Brittany Buckley, she's only a sophomore. She's facing juniors, seniors. So I think if Brittany Buckley develops her game, kind of takes the reins as a team leader, they could be successful in the future. I'm going to be tough on them, though. I'm going to give them a C, and that just stands for capable of better work.
It's got a lot of promise and a lot of potential on that team. Well, April isn't exactly the heart of football season, but we did see a little action at the Red-White game. The Red Raiders also have a new road jersey, which was unveiled earlier in April. So what do you have to say about this team and this new jersey?
I like it. It's not drastically different or anything like that. No. But when I see a new jersey, I think a new team identity, and that's what this team needs to fight for right now. Zach Zulli's not here anymore. It's not Zach Zulli's team. Jake Mett's not here anymore. A couple big names. So, guys like Chris Lawshe and obviously Trevor Harmon are going to be big. Blair Brooks is going to have to be a big name, as he already is. But, keep in mind about the spring game is that there are 40 recruits on hand. A lot of those guys are going to be playing come the fall. So they have to step up for playing time. But I think the coaching staff did a nice job, getting the recruits together, putting together a nice class, as they usually do. But to me, that's more of a pass or fail, not quite a letter grade. I give them a P, definitely. They're in the right direction.
Yep, a lot of exciting things heading into the next football season. Well, moving on now, who doesn't love a little sibling rivalry or a little sibling camaraderie, depending on how you want to look at it? The Craiglow family represent Ship very well on the baseball diamond. Senior Pat Craiglow is one of the most decorated baseball players in Ship history, and his sister Nicole is a freshman on the softball team. So what grade do you give the Craiglow family and their outstanding children when it comes to playing on the diamond?
Well, they are an outstanding athletic family for sure. Those kids are beasts. You really can't compare their stats at this point. Nicole hasn't really seen a lot of playing time, seen action in about 4 games, mostly as a pinch runner, things like that. But her team is moving on to the postseason. They had a little bit better team. Pat's team sort of fell off, a baseball team. It's sad how his senior season really ended.
Especially after the great thing they had last year going to the World
Series. And you look at the player that he was last year. His RBIs are down from this year. He had 28 RBIs this year. That's down from 60 last year. That's a simple fact. You can't hit in guys who aren't on base.
That's right.
But, he did well on the mound again, but he finished 3-3. Didn't get the run support he deserved. The baseball team played 25 games last month, only won 11 of them. 9 of their 13 losses were decided by 1 or 2 runs. You have to edge those games out. I think most of that is due to their inability to out-hit their errors. They're very uncharacteristic of their errors. But Craiglow has been a lifetime fielder of upwards of 0.9, his entire career. So you really can't blame him. And unfortunately, he's done. But I think he can be a Hall of Famer at Ship as well. But, thankfully, the Raider fans get a little more Craiglow action in the next few years from Nicole. So that's cool. For the Craiglow family, I would definitely have to give them an A+. They do their part to represent the Raiders.
Done a fine job indeed. Well, that does it for the report card this month. And, Kyle, we'll send it back to you.
Thank you, guys. We'll see what the offseason brings for next year. Softball had their last home game this weekend against Lock Haven. Ryan Jeff Chang Cho has the highlights.
Emily Eastep and 3 other seniors were recognized for their hard dedication for the team over the last few years. Back to the game now, Eastep dominated Lock Haven while their offense struggled to make solid contact, scattering 4 hits and striking out 8 over 7 shutout innings. Eastep was helped out by her fellow teammates with strong defense, getting the last 2 outs in the outfield, as Shippensburg wins this one by a final score of 5-0. Ryan Cho, SUTV Sports.
The women are in Quakertown this weekend for the PSAC tournament. Today through Saturday, Shippensburg is hosting the PSAC Track and Field Championships. This is Ship's first time hosting since 2007. The women's have won every PSAC Outdoor Championship since 2010. The ladies have 35 athletes competing this year. The men are going for 6 straight league championship wins. 42 men will compete for SHIP. Events today included the multis and 10K. Tomorrow events begin at 10 a.m. For updates, follow at PSAC-TF on Twitter. Well, that does it for sports this week. Trey Kemble will bring his bright face to sports next week for his last show. John and Lauren, back to you.
Well, that's it for SUTV News. I'm Laura McQuay.
And I'm John Schaefer. Make sure to follow SUTV on Twitter, Vine, like us on Facebook, and visit our webpage at SUTVnews.com.
Make sure to stay tuned for the next episode of Camera Combat High School Edition. Palmyra High School joins us this time presenting their PSAs on the dangers of concussions. Find out who the winner is out of the groups.
It starts right now. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.